Hey guys, welcome back. I'm RetroVille, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about, in this commentary, it's going to be edited commentary because I'm just kind of recording this thing. I don't know, I prefer it that way. It makes more sense to me, I think. But anyway, today's topic is, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about handheld retro, like retro gaming, where you have emulators, you have all these things. I made a reel recently talking about how, there are many handheld devices out there that come with tens of thousands of, or even hundreds of thousands of video games for everyone to enjoy from all the way back when. And they're all the full titles too. You're not having to and the best part is it's affordable. Affordable gaming, according to even Xbox's current CEO, is becoming insanely unaffordable because of RAM crisis. RAM crisis has become such an issue that even this should cost maybe $3,000, but it's up to maybe $2,000, but this is up to $6,000 now. Yeah. So when push comes to shove, this is superior to everything because it operates on a higher value. The only difference you have is this doesn't need to. See, there was something in gaming back in the day that was incredibly viable as a constant for someone's determination on whether or not they would purchase a video game back in the day. Back in the day, you also had retro stores that would be like hole-in-the-wall stores that would have all the video games that someone else returned, a custom and local business game store. Those are no longer in existence, and you would also find things like these there. Funny enough, this was like $80. I made a video talking about it. It's a Retro Snap Play R36S. Yeah. That right there has 40,000 games on it, and I have an infinitude of time to play one of these, and that's years, decades of gameplay in a handheld. Whereas I can only maybe store 3 to 5, 7 games on this because they're all massive. Here's what I'm talking about: low requirement gaming. Have you noticed how low requirement games are slowly and silently being pushed out of existence? For example, Halo remains the remarkable at its low requirement game standard for what it needs to be operable on a system. That's increasingly getting bigger with everything to come with the next adaptation of Halo, the remake of Combat Evolved, and further after that. That's going to be either a low requirement game or a moderate requirement game because of the technology necessary to do so. RAM crisis has made it so that it's almost damn near impossible for even corporate to be able to build computers for people that will be price worthy and affordable for, the nostalgia of a PC gaming experience or a gaming PC at all. In that right, there are also plenty of companies also building corporate PCs for other personal uses and business uses. But other than that, my point is the RAM crisis is putting a lowdown on all of that, and the best way to preserve games for the retro value is to use them in emulator handhelds. You see, all those games are basically just taking up space on the internet, and no one wants them anymore. But they're worth way more than all the other games that are coming out nowadays with battle passes and invasive predatory. Here's your wallet, I want that and what's in it and everything else too. So oh yeah, I want your next of kin, the soul of your unborn child. I want you to sign your name in hieroglyphs and in blood quill ink. Good God, that's basically what corporate wants from you anymore. It was a long-standing joke that Blizzard and BattleNet was basically selling your soul to the devil. That's why I guess I make that joke about selling my soul. It's a joke, guys. I didn't actually sell my soul. It's very much right here and keeping my heart beating. Thanks. Anyway, retro gaming is probably the best way to preserve current gaming standards. Here, let's look at this. Stop Killing Games wants to stop games from being obsoleted. One of the main priorities of how they function on that is stuff like this. I think more distribution and more reproduction of these kinds of things would, and maybe eventually lowering the prices on them entirely, would lead to a whole new entourage of gamers from the new generations of people into older versions of games that are vastly more entertaining and elaborate and better put together than basically anything coming out today, where everything needs patch notes and updates, Cyberpunk, Halo, MCC, you get it, right? These don't need that. You just pick it up, open it up, click on it, and go. Save at any time, pause at any time, turn it off at the where you're playing at any time, nothing happens, right? That was the ideal back in the 90s and early 2000s is having a game that you could do that with. And that changed over time to games that no longer allow you to basically pause because you're always online. If everything is going to be online, something needs to be offline. Let's just rest on that one. These are offline, and you can integrate games from online onto the disc via things like these. And you can just, install as many as you want as long as the disc holds it. So if you get like a 2 terabyte or SD card and put that in there, you've got an infinitude of games on the emulation station and any emulator that fits RetroArch 2.0. My point, you will have way more access to your entertainment means than this can provide you at a standard. That's something I noticed when I was younger, when I was about 18, 19, is that console gaming of any kind usually has more games on it than PC does that are professionally great titles, even if they're only emulators. I honestly think that more emulators, more retro gamers coming back into the retrospective of the retro field of gaming is going to be like the call sign that shows corporate they need to switch it up. Because if you don't switch it up, corporate, people aren't going to keep buying. And I don't know. I think the more that we lean back into the older games that are and were way more better than everything that's coming out nowadays. You got battle passes that come out. You got DLCs that aren't what they sell you. You got things expanding in your inventory that you then have to go and pay for if you even want to use it or download a blueprint to even do that. Nah, that's too much. It's too much. That's not sustainable. It's just marketing overture at that point. It's just not sustainable. So what I would really recommend for people like, for example, Stop Killing Games, is to advocate to expand more on retro emulating systems. Give access to these more in sale representation in market value. It is still an open market to sell in according to capitalism. So if that's the case, make and reprint what was already there so that it is accessible to more people, and I bet you more people will come to buy it just because it's like $40 to $80 to get one of these. Yeah, as opposed to like $6,000 just to get started as a gamer. This is gaming, Anyway, I guess I made my point. I had to speak on this for a little bit. Anyway, take it easy, stay awesome, Ninja. Drink coffee, be awesome, be excellent. I'll catch you in another video sometime. Peace, and I'll see you in another one.